This is Gerardo Del Real with Resource Stock Digest. Joining me today is the president of Bravo Mining, Mr. Simon Mottram. Simon, it is great to have you back on. We were overdue for an update. How are you today, sir?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Gerardo. Good to be back on.
Well, listen, let's get right into it. I joked off air that things are getting really, really exciting and interesting, and you opined back that they've been interesting, but and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think we're both cautiously very optimistic about the progress at Luanga. You just had some news again, with some excellent PGM results, but let me be honest, as a shareholder, what I am extremely excited about is the game-changing potential with this EM that's going to be ran over the whole area of the Luanga project, which is scheduled to begin, as I understand it, at the end of May. So a lot there. Let's start with the results, and then let's definitely talk about the EM and the potential for another game-changing discovery at Luanga.
Absolutely. Go for your life.
Let's start with the most recent results. Tell me your thoughts. I know it's a lot of infill drilling. It looks like the grades are at the very least as good, if not better, than the historical data would have suggested. It looks like the continuity's holding up. What's your take on that?
Absolutely. I think the continuity is good. The grades are holding up. The widths are holding up. The continuity is holding up. You see it in the sections in the news releases. I think the only negative you could possibly take away from it is it's more of the same, but it's more of the same good news. It sounds difficult sometimes, you're droning on, but what can I say? It just keeps delivering. I think at the end of the day, we're excited as everyone else that we're building towards the first mineral resource estimate in the second half of this year. I think it should. I think it's definitely going to deliver what everyone's expecting and maybe a bit more.
Well, let's talk about the potential for, an early holiday and early Christmas, the magmatic nickel sulfides at Luanga and the EM. Tell me what that process looks like, and when do you think we start to find out whether that EM is lit like a Christmas tree or if it's going to take a little bit more digging to get to what's down there?
I think we'll know pretty soon. I mean, as you said, it's due to start at the end of this month, and that's literally days away. So literally, I'm sitting here waiting to hear that the helicopters arrived at the airport, and they'll get into it. Now, weather looks great out the window right this second, but you never know. You're in the tropical north of Brazil. I mean, it shouldn't take that long. It should be over within a week, and then hopefully we'll start hearing what comes out of that in June. So I don't think it's going to take long. And I think you're right. It's always going to be the $1 million or the $1 billion question. It's could easily be the game changer. And let's just hope that, we see the magic in the top sort of 300-400 meters that shows up on the EM, and we can get out there and start drilling some holes.
You answered my next question, but I want to get into a bit more detail for those that maybe aren't familiar with an EM and what that process looks like and what you're hoping to see when you get the data here in what sounds like a couple of weeks, which again, if we're talking June is right around the corner. I can't wait to see the results from that EM. But for those not familiar with what that process looks like and what you're hoping to get out of it, can you explain that to us?
Basically, you're running airborne electromagnetic survey, and electromagnetics is to me it's my preferred and it's my favorite baby, if you like, in the world of geophysics. Geophysics is always, I think, seen by a lot of people, and myself included, it can be a bit of a black art, and I think a lot of the techniques are, but certainly for my money, in my opinion, electromagnetics is the one standout that is generally clear cut. If you've got massive sulfides, it's going to show up. And the only real limitation is how deep into the ground that you can see. You're basically charging the ground from a loop with a high ampage field, if you like, that's generated from pushed out via a generator, and you're basically looking for an effect where if there's massive sulfides, it's going to soak up some of that charge, and then you will see that charge dissipate, and the machinery, basically the equipment, picks that up. And if there's no massive sulfides there, you don't see anything. But if there are massive sulfides there, electromagnetics generally will see it, so long as it's not very too deep. And again, it all gets a bit what's the word I'm looking for? Not theoretical, but it's relativity. You know, if you look at something like Voisey's Bay, which is huge, you know, the guys there picked that up with EM that with as little as 15 amps in the ground loops, and they're putting that on the ground, and they picked that up with what is now considered pretty antiquated equipment. It's quite low ampage, but obviously the bigger the anomaly, the easier it is to charge it, and then the easier it is to detect it. But I mean, I think, the most important thing from my perspective is you very rarely see, great anomalies that don't turn out to be something interesting. Like if there's an anomaly in EM, there's always something there. It's not like other techniques where, you're doing IP or, it's the chargeability, or maybe it's a resistivity anomaly, or it's a low, or it's a high, or it depends a lot on the interpretation. But I find, EM is one of those tools that there's an anomaly, there's got to be an explanation. You don't get false anomalies.
No false anomalies. We're gonna know
Generally
soon.
not.
Yeah.
It's generally not. If there's an anomaly, there'll be something there. And what you're looking for is that late time anomaly, so it's in what they call the later channels, that says to you, well, this is most likely going to be massive sulfide. And, if we see late channel anomalies, we'll be out there drilling holes for sure.
Well, I can't wait to have you back on to talk about those results. We mentioned off air, and I'll say it publicly. If that EM lights up like the Christmas tree, like we're hoping, this can go from a $3 stock to a $10 stock really, really quickly, given the strike length and given what's already there. If you tap into that feeder system, it's going to be a fun 2023. Anything to add to that?
The only thing I would add to that is again, the great unknown in nickel massive sulfide deposits is generally, in my experience, and certainly the discoveries I've been involved in, they're almost never where you think they're going to be. And that's why you see we're surveying the whole license. We're just going to go from corner to corner and survey the whole thing. And if it's there in the footwall, or it's deeper in the footwall, or it's over there and there's a feeder zone, is wherever it is, if there's an anomaly on that license, we're going to pick it up.
Top-notch
so long as it's not too deep.
Yep, top-notch work from a top-notch team. If it is deep, obviously there's ways to get to that as well. But let's cross that bridge if we get to it. Let's do this again in a few weeks when we get those results in, Simon.
All right, sounds great.
All right, thank you so much. Cheers.
Thanks, Gerardo. Bye.
Hey everybody, Gerardo Del Real here. If you're enjoying the content that you just saw, you can let us know in 3 simple steps. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and please share across your network and on social media. Take care, everybody.